Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes. In this half-time bulletin, I am joined by Kevin McCluskey and Lawrence Connolly. Leading up to this game, Kevin, I was concerning myself with how we were going to celebrate the goals. There's been no goals, not for Celtic anyway. That was a really disappointing first half. Where did it all go wrong?
It was a disappointing first half, yeah. I don't know, I'll get shot down in flames for this one, but I think you've got to give Rangers a bit of credit for the first 5-10 minutes of the game, because they came out with intent. They were really aggressive in the same way that Hearts were against us last week. They didn't let us settle in, and they got the early goal, which was what they were looking for. Do you know what? After that, for the next 20 minutes or so, I actually felt we were coming really back into the game.
Yep.
O's missed a good chance to score. He's hit that kind of nice little dink over the keeper and it's come back off the post. Abada's had his chance as well that Ralston set up. He's just completely fluffed it. It's not like we weren't creating chances. We just went clinical. And then, again, we just got complacent, I think, in the midfield. There was quite a few slack passes going about the place. And the goals that we've conceded have been completely self-inflicted. We've allowed them to get shots away that they shouldn't have been getting away. The first one, I think it's Jota and O'Reilly. They should be closing Lundstrom down. Hart could maybe push it a bit wider, but then the defence is really slow to react to that loose ball. And the second goal is just horrible defending. It's like defending from 2-3 years ago when we couldn't defend a set piece. So, disappointing, self-inflicted. But one of those games where, for some reason, I feel we're not 100% out of this yet. If we can get a goal back early doors in the second half, it changes things. And we have created chances. So let's try and get a wee bit of positivity in what's been a poor first half.
I'm going to bring up some comments and obviously bring Lawrence's views into this. But my kind of take on that first half, Lawrence, is that, to be honest with you, the two chances that they created, the difference between us and them going in at half-time 2-up, are the fact that we should have dealt better with two chances. And we probably should have done better with the ones that we created ourselves. I'm not looking for a blame game, but when you try and look and analyse the goals that you concede, you can notice a few things. And Kevin's already pointed a few out. I do think Joe Hart should have done better with that. If he's going to stop it, make sure it's out his 6-yard box or catch the ball. But it's the reaction time. And yeah, I know you can take it a stage further and say Lundstrom should never have got the space to have the shot. It's the reaction time of Kobayashi for me that I think that's a glaring, obvious defensive error. And then for the second goal, he needs to do better. He needs to do better with that challenge from Suter. So these two goals for me are completely unavoidable, but that's probably why I'm not getting overexcited by this. And the fact that we can make changes. We've got a really strong bench. And I think the second half could be completely different. What was your take on that first half, Lawrence?
Kobayashi's played as if he's rusty. You know, he's way behind the line. He doesn't react quickly for the first one. Second one, you know, I remember training session 8 is Billy McNeil telling players, you have to attack the ball as a centre-half. You have to attack it and clear it. He didn't. And that's why you get beat to it. O should hit the target. You know, he didn't get it on target. Abada should score. We've had the obligatory Connor Goldson save. You know, the ball's gone by him. He puts his hand down and catches the ball. He's not balancing his hand at that point. It's not supporting him. He's put his hand down and it's anti-ball.
But that's only 3 times he's done it this season, Lawrence.
Oh, well, it's, you know, you expect it in these games, don't you? It's, but, you know, we've been a bit slack with the passing today. It's almost as if, you know, we've got a lot to play for in this game. Yeah, you know, the players have been a wee bit slack. I think Kobayashi's just shown he's rusty. He's sitting deep on that. He's slow to react. Could Hart push it wider? Yeah, maybe. But if he's pushing it there, your defence should be on it before the opposition. You know,
he's pushed it into a dangerous area. He's pushed it right into the front of his own goal.
Yeah, you want to push it a bit wider, but you'd expect a bit of cover there, wouldn't he? He's maybe expect. But listen, I don't think we're out of it either. But, you know, we've sold 2 goals. Could have a pen. Could have scored 2. You know, these boys need minutes. We need to see what they're about. Will Ange make changes at half time? I hope not. I hope he gives these boys a bit of time. So look, you've got yourself into a hole here. Get out of it. Show me what you're made of. You know,
do you think they've got it? Do you think they've got it though? To get them out of that hole? Because obviously the freshening up has been a massive part of our play this season. You know, that change at 60, 65, it completely changes the complexion of the game. I spoke about, remember, Awata coming on in the 3-2 game, completely changed the game for me. And he's a change I would make. I don't think Atati's been in the game, Lawrence. I don't think, even with that chance, I don't think O has been particularly effective up top. Again, he has made changes at halftime in the past. I'm not sure if he'll do it today or if he'll stick with the guys and say, listen, this is you under the cosh. Let's see how you react to it. Let's see your character. I think Bernaby's played very well in the first half once.
Yeah, you know, one of the players I suppose some people would be worried about getting into the game. You know, he's acquitted himself well, but the boys need to put under pressure. We need to see what we've got for next season. You know, as a second choice striker, Kobayashi's, you know, if a centre half's out, he's the next boy in, he's third choice.
What's most important to you? What's most important to you today? To get the minutes or to try and pull this back? What's most important to you today, Lawrence?
I think we give them minutes. You know, we really want to see, because this will affect your transfer strategy for next season. If these boys don't have it in them to get a reaction in the next, 25 minutes here, 20, 25 minutes, maybe they're not the answer for next season. They've got to have a look at it and go, right, do you have it? What can you give us when you're under pressure? You know, there's players on there that can turn it around. You know, we know Jota can do it. We know McGregor can do it. You know Hatate and Abada can do it. We're 2 down. It's up to them to show the manager what they've got. Like that, you know, if you bring Awata on, you bring Kyogo on, what are we going to learn about the team?
I think, though, that is it about learning about players on today, or is it about ensuring that we don't let the impetus drop? We've got a Scottish Cup final coming up in a few weeks' time. I'll throw it over to Kevin and I'll ask the audience, which is 1,400 strong. What do you think? I think sitting here right now, Kevin, I don't want to lose this game.
Well, I don't want to lose it either. But I tend to agree with Lawrence on this one. And I would say the guys that are on the pitch, Ange believes that they're good enough to win the game. That's why he's picked them. They're not showing it at the moment, but the only way we'll ever find out if they're good enough to win these type of games is to keep them on and trust them that they can do it. It's a massive next 20 minutes, I would say, for some of these players, because it is the case. I don't want to lose the game, but what do you learn about Kyogo if you bring him on now? But you can learn a lot about if you keep him on for the next 15 or 20 minutes.
It's not about learning about Kyogo, though. We know what Kyogo's capable of, hence the reason I bring him on.
Okay. I'd just look at it from a different way and go, I want to know what O's like, because if you don't trust O to get you back in this game today, what is the point in having him for next season? To be blunt in that sense.
Based on the first half performance, do you think there's going to be a change of approach in the second half if you don't change the personnel? I think that's why we go on about having a strong bench. This is the reason why. The things aren't going the way that we had planned. You make the changes. You try and grasp something from the game. I mean, you learn every single day about your players. And I think that putting them in today was a bit of a, I don't know, it was unusual. I thought it was a bit of a surprise, but they're there, and I don't think it's worked. So you change it. You've got to change in game, Lawrence. You've got to manage in game. If you just sit in after 45 minutes where it's not working, if you sit there after 45 minutes and say it's not working, 65 minutes you could be 3-0 down and it's still not working, then the game's gone.
But you learn if you've got a training ground player every day. What you want to do is if you've got a big match player, if you've got players that can do it under pressure. You know, we've had 67% possession.
I don't think you can write anybody off. You can't write anybody off at half time, Lawrence. You can't write anybody off at half time, but at 2-0 down, you also can't just rest on your laurels and hope that it will sort itself out. You've got to manage the game in game. You've got to make the decisions in game.
But I'm sure Ange will be giving them instructions to get out and turn this around. He's not going to be saying sit in your laurels.
I'm not suggesting that. What I'm saying is you've got to make a change if it's not working. Do you think it's working? You're coming in at half time 2-0 down.
We've had 67% possession. They missed 2 sitters. Could have had a penalty. They've had we've sold 2 goals and they've scored for both here. You know, I don't
think so. Should have.
I don't think this is a terrible team performance. You know,
nobody's suggesting that it is. No one is suggesting that it is. No. What I'm saying is about looking at a player and saying, I want to see if he can cut it at this level. That's all fair and well. But the question I'm asking you is, do you do that or do you try and bring something back from this game so that you don't get a defeat? what's most important to you? You think it's about testing a player to see if they've got the character.
Yeah, mate, you know, we've got a big season. Kevin's touched on O's a second choice. If you're not going to trust him and see what he's got in this.
It's not about trusting him. It's about the fact it's just not working today. So you change it.
Well, I wouldn't change it at half time, mate. I'd give him more time. You
okay,
know,
so no changes at half time for you? No changes for you?
No, not for me, mate.
I think
anywhere across the park? No changes?
I wouldn't change anyone today.
Right. Kev, you the same? You wouldn't make any changes?
I was going to say, I think you could spin it the other way around and you go, if it was Kyogo up front, would you take him off at half-time to bring O on just now? And that's the other question that you can ask. Would you make the changes then?
No, because you know what Kyogo's got.
Because you know what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
What's cost us so far has been individual mistakes, and largely it's been Kobayashi's individual mistake, but we've got no one that can come on and replace him. So that's a tough call. He needs to stay on. If I'm going to make changes at half-time, I would keep O on to give him the next 15 minutes, because I think we just need to. I think it's a character thing for him. I think he needs to get the trust to play in these games. But I'd be more disappointed in somebody like a Hatate, who is an experienced player in the team and hasn't performed so far. So there's a change. You could take him off and you could bring on Haksabanovic if you want to go attacking and get a number 10, or you can bring Iwata on to try and stabilise the midfield and try and win it back. If O is still quiet after the first 10 minutes, I think then get him off and bring Kyogo on. I'd just give him the time. I don't necessarily think it's been his fault that he's been quiet. He hasn't had service. It's the same with Jota. He's not been getting the ball from the midfield. He hasn't had the service to show what he can do today. We need to win the midfield, win that, and the rest should follow.
And do you think that at half-time, Ange Postecoglou's sitting here, like Lawrence was saying, talking about your strategy? Nobody's writing anybody off, Lawrence. Nobody's saying, oh, you're not good enough, so I'm going to buy a new striker because you haven't scored a goal in the first half. What I'm saying is you don't want to lose this game today. And the first half hasn't, in terms of personnel, it's not worked because we haven't been clinical enough up top. We've had chances, we've not been clinical enough. Why is that? Because we've got an offensive player who is the top goal scorer in the country sitting on the bench who can make a huge difference. Why wait till 65 minutes to make that change?
As I said, give more of a chance. You know, we need to say to him, look, you're under pressure here. We're 2-0 down. We're looking for something from you. You need to turn it on. Abada, you know, that's a really poor miss from Abada. You're going, look, you need to give us more. You know, show me what you've got. You know, these are players that should be staking a place for a starting position. Have they done it today? No. You know, and bringing them on just now and saying, right, don't lose, get Kyogo on, Iwata on, Maeda on. We're not going to learn anything, mate. You know, we've won the league.
What is it about? My point is it about learning today? Is it not about avoiding defeat?
What you're going to win, what you're going to learn in the rest of the games, mate. This is the biggest test before Europe today. This will be the biggest test before Europe. So what you're going to learn in the other games when the pressure's off?
The pressure's off in many ways today.
Well,
the pressure's off in many ways today.
No, totally. But it's still their hardest challenge.
Yeah, aye.
Europe. So
I wouldn't doubt that for a moment. Game. Still don't want to lose it though. See, I was concerned coming into this game, people going on about it being meaningless. It's never meaningless. It's never meaningless. And you're setting yourself up for a Scottish Cup final. Hence the reason I was surprised, and I'm not criticising them because, yeah, you've got to give people game time, but that's not worked in the first half. And it's about in-game management for me. And we've had managers in the past who haven't done it soon enough, and they've left it and hoped that they would work it out, and it's not happened. So it will be interesting to see if any changes have been made. Maybe you're already aware of that if you're watching the game live. I don't think it's about a knee-jerk reaction. Stephen Sloan, how are we going to compete in Europe next season if we can't beat that Rangers team? Well, we're not playing our full-strength team. If we don't add quality in the summer, I fear we will get humiliated. I don't think you can gauge that based on today's lineup or today's performance, personally. And Danielle comes in to suggest something similar. We are missing Kyogo, Carter Vickers, Johnson, Taylor. And yeah, I would bring in a wee bit more quality, but that's what this is all about. Kevin and Lawrence disagree with that. Kevin, I don't know if you've got an eye on any changes that are happening at Ibrox just now, because I think we're about to kick off the second half. And
I was just having a look, but I can't see that any have been made.
No,
so it looks like he's going with the same starting team.
Right, so he's gone for Lawrence and Kevin's suggestions at half-time to get the minutes in the legs. Listen, no one will be happier than me if pulls a goal back, gets the jersey off and runs right at Ibrox. So we shall go back to the second half and back to the action. Join us at full time. We were 1,400 strong in the live stream there. Plenty to talk about. A disappointing first half. Will it be better in the second? All that's left for me to say is thank you to Kevin McCluskey and Lawrence Conley for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.